Tonight, murder manhunt. A man found dead in a Doncaster street, killed after a home invasion gone wrong. The Tobacco War Task Force strikes back. Police arrest 5 men with bikie links over Melbourne fire bombings. Fresh calls for pill testing after more overdoses at another Melbourne music festival. Mass demonstrations in Yemen as Houthi rebels vowed to hit back following American-led strikes. First on 9, we talk to Andre Agassi on his return to Melbourne Park, and the tennis legends predicting big things from Alex de Minaur. And embattled Melbourne star Clayton Oliver says he's feeling good as he returns to training.
This is Melbourne's 9 News with Dougal Beaty.
Good evening. A home invasion victim has been found dead in a Doncaster street, apparently killed as he tried to chase the armed thieves. Homicide detectives say the 33-year-old died after suffering shocking injuries as he was stabbed and hit by a car. Neri Tai reports.
A man dead in the middle of a Doncaster street. The tragic end to a home invasion gone wrong.
This is a tragic set of circumstances, and our thoughts are with not only the victim but his family, friends and the community.
Around 5 o'clock this morning, armed thieves broke into the victim's unit on nearby Sargent Street. They stole laptops and shoes before the 33-year-old chased the burglars in his car. His partner on the phone to police.
I think they are renters and most of them are quite young. They are nice people, really nice people.
A short time later, the victim was found dead on nearby Eildon Street. Police are investigating if the man who suffered horrific injuries was stabbed and then rammed by a car. Heavily armed officers searched nearby properties looking for any clues of the killers.
It will be an ongoing investigation. It is in its infancy, and we're not, ruling out any bit of information.
A neighbour who doesn't want to be identified said he saw a group of teens with torches loitering near the victim's home late last night. The footage has since been handed over to the homicide squad.
I saw a bunch of maybe 10 or 12 kids on our street. It's very unusual.
Extra resources have been called in to investigate the murder, with police going door to door to try and track down those responsible.
My responsibility is to reassure the community that we're doing everything that we possibly can.
And Neri Tai is live for us at the scene now. Neri, are police any closer to catching the offenders?
Well, Dougal, we understand police are looking for up to 4 offenders as part of their investigation. We now know that the victim was found dead less than a kilometre from his home behind me here. And so detectives have spent most of today door knocking surrounding streets, speaking to nearby residents to try and find CCTV to trace his final moments. They're still appealing for any more witnesses with information to come forward as they step up patrols in the area tonight. Dougal?
OK, Neri Tai, thank you. 4 men and a teenager have been arrested in police raids across Melbourne over the recent spate of fire bombings on shops and tobacco stores, including 2 attacks on a shop in Altona in the past week. The accused are aged between 17 and 41 and are either members of or have links to the Finks Outlaw Motorcycle Club.
And also Molotov cocktails were located in one of the addresses, which says to us that we believe they were preparing to do further arsons.
5 face multiple charges, including arson and carjacking. A cocktail of heat, exhaustion and contaminated MDMA is being blamed for 9 recent overdoses at Melbourne music festivals. It follows 2 overdoses at another event, prompting renewed calls for pill testing. Mark Santomartino has the story.
Sniffer dogs helped police arrest 2 dealers, but drugs still made it into the Melbourne showgrounds, where under a beating summer sun, 2 women overdosed at yesterday's Juicy Fest and needed to be taken to hospital. One of those, a woman in her 30s, remains in a critical condition tonight, as do 2 of the 8 people placed into medically induced comas at last week's Hard Mission Festival. 7 of those have since had special blood tests. All had taken MDMA, 6 at very high concentrations. But 3 also tested positive for synthetic stimulants. Another 3 had methamphetamine in their system, a drug they didn't mean to take.
At a festival environment, if it's 32 degrees, we'd be telling you that this is an added risk. of taking drugs.
Professor Malcolm McLeod runs CanTest in Canberra. It's Australia's only pill testing service where in 10 minutes people can have their drugs tested for purity, potency and then get advice as to what damage they could do.
If there was a site like this in Melbourne, it's potentially avoidable, right? We can't make drug use safe, but hopefully we can make it a little bit safer.
Research has shown that it does not increase the likelihood of people to take drugs, so it doesn't increase drug use, and it also doesn't increase harm.
Coroners in both Victoria and New South Wales have recommended pill testing, and while a majority of Australians support the idea, neither state has moved.
The new Premier is playing Russian roulette with the lives of young Victorians.
When asked this week, the Premier said those concerned about the effects of drugs shouldn't take them in the first place. The opposition shares that opinion, but regardless, the Greens and others will push a bill in the coming months to try and make pill testing legal in Victoria by next summer.
We have to have this conversation now to prevent more harm, to prevent possible deaths.
But GP Tony Bartoni insists, like CanTest's own waiver form, the only 100% guaranteed way to make sure that you are not harmed by consuming drugs is to not consume drugs at all.
The message that you can't have fun without taking drugs at these events is a really deadly one.
Mark Santomartino, 9 News.
A man in his 20s has died after being swept out to sea at Gippsland's Kilcunda surf beach. Police say he was with friends in the water when he tried to retrieve a pair of sunglasses. His body was found on the beach an hour later after he disappeared. The United States has launched a fresh round of strikes against military targets in Yemen, and the Iranian-backed Houthis are vowing to retaliate. President Joe Biden says the US will continue to act if the rebels keep up their outrageous behaviour. Alison Petrowski has the latest.
A sea of protesters took to the streets of Sana'a, the Houthi rebel-controlled capital of Yemen. God is great, they chant, death to America, death to Israel. Outside the British embassy in Iran, they burned the flags of the UK, the US and Israel, condemning all three nations. A promise of retaliation from Houthis Supreme Political Committee, who said the strikes violated all international laws, warning that all American and British interests have become legitimate targets. At least 5 Houthi military members killed after the US and UK led strikes on 30 military targets. And today, another round, hitting a radar facility presenting a threat to maritime traffic. A response to Iran's proxies, who have been launching attacks on ships in the Red Sea almost daily since November.
The Houthis may be pulling the trigger, but it's Iran that's providing the guns.
US officials believe that the Houthis now have degraded capabilities, yet today they fired at least one anti-ship ballistic missile towards a commercial ship, but no vessel was hit.
We will make sure that we respond to the Houthis as they continue this outrageous behaviour, along with our allies.
While on a tour of small businesses, the US president defended the airstrikes, which he called a success.
No. Iran does not want to war with us.
The US Navy warning American flag ships to steer clear of areas around Yemen and the Gulf of Aden for the next 72 hours. The White House is adamant the attacks on Houthi targets were not intended to spark a wider war. But President Biden is prepared for more should the attacks on shipping continue. Today, Tesla and Volvo announced their assembly lines in Europe would be suspended after many ships were rerouted, causing a shortage of parts as the crisis with one of the world's biggest supply chains deepens. In Washington, D.C., Alison Petrowski, 9 News.
Supermarkets could soon be forced to reveal the difference between what they're paying food producers and what customers are being charged at the checkout. The Albanese government is looking to set up a powerful new inquiry into price gouging. Here's Eliza Edwards.
A new front in the fight over food prices as farmers question whether they're being fleeced.
We saw lamb drop to under $4 a kilo, but we didn't see any movement in the supermarket shelves.
Cattle prices falling 66% in the year to October, lamb down 38%, but shoppers are still being slugged $43 a kilo for lamb cutlets and $28 for a rump steak, while supermarkets rake in big profits.
They are cleaning up. There's no way in the world that they haven't taken advantage of this.
Concern too from government that the grocery market is stacked against producers and shoppers.
There deserves to be scrutiny on the supermarkets for the way that they're treating consumers, but also the way that they're treating producers.
That scrutiny may be about to get even tougher. The Treasurer in talks with the ACCC about launching a fresh inquiry, exposing supermarkets if they are profiting from a price gap.
We'll take whatever action we need to put downward pressure on grocery prices.
If it's given the green light, an ACCC probe would run alongside a Senate inquiry to begin next month, as well as a review of the Grocery Code of Conduct. The biggest difference, forced transparency on prices.
It'd compel them to show documentation around their pricing practices as well as give evidence.
If people are price gouging, we can put pressure on them to be more competitive.
Coles and Woolworths say they're facing higher supply chain costs but are prioritising price relief. Eliza Edwards, 9 News.
The stars have aligned in Melbourne on the eve of the 2024 Australian Open. Melbourne Park is set to shine as the world's top tennis players battle it out for Grand Slam glory. And as Nat Yanidis reports, some future champions were also on show.
One final hit up for world number one Novak Djokovic before he starts his quest for a record 11th Australian Open crown.
It's where every player wants to play their best tennis, and yeah, it's exciting to be a part of another slam.
Earlier, a host of stars came out to play on Kids Tennis Day. Alex de Minaur headlined the arena spectacular on centre court. Caroline Wozniacki's daughter Olivia won hearts, before 10-year-olds Oliver and Darcy stole the show, hitting up against some of the world's best.
I loved meeting all of the players because I love watching them on TV.
Almost 90,000 fans were at Melbourne Park for a record-breaking opening week. Vendors are now preparing for a hectic fortnight.
And how many lobsters will you probably prepare?
Way too many. Way too many. I think we have like 700 on site, so once they go, they go.
Rockpool Bar and Grill is back for a 7th year. It's one of 70 food outlets available on site. Doc Pizza is making its Australian Open debut.
Here to bring a slice of Lygon Street to the Australian Open.
In qualifying week alone, they've already used 400 kilograms of dough.
We are thinking anywhere around 1,000 to 1,200 slices a day.
There are also options for the health conscious, with Green On joining the party.
Exactly, everything's local, everything, we prep everything every day. We hand cut all the peaches, hand cut all the tomatoes. It's a labour of love, but it's definitely worth it.
For those with a bit of a sweet tooth, the official dessert of the Australian Open is the Peach Melbourne. The idea is to rival the strawberries and cream at Wimbledon.
There's even an official cocktail, perfect for fans looking to cool down while catching a spot of tennis in the courtside cocktail bar. And everything is ready to go for when gates open here at Melbourne Park tomorrow morning at 9:45. Play will get underway on the outside courts from 11 and all the action will start on centre court from 12 o'clock. Reigning champions Novak Djokovic and Arena Sabalenka, they are going to feature in tomorrow's night session on Rod Laver Arena. And the order of play has just been released for day 2. Aussie Alex de Minaur, the headline act, he's going to be up against Milos Raonic on Rod Laver Arena on Monday night. So he's first up during that night session. Of course, you can catch all the action from this year's Australian Open live and exclusive right here on 9. Dougal.
Bring on tomorrow. Nat, thank you. And one of the Australian Open's all-time favourites has hit town. More than 2 decades after his last Grand Slam win, 4-time champion Andre Agassi is looking forward to continuing his love affair with Melbourne. He spoke exclusively to Clint Stanaway.
He's the tennis legend who made a habit of winning at Melbourne Park.
I feel like I'm half Australian.
4 times Andre Agassi lifted the Norman Brooks Challenge Cup, and 21 years after his last triumph, he's back.
I was excited to come back, certainly, and excited to come here, but then all of a sudden so much was unrecognizable. But at the same time, it feels amazing. I mean, it's great to see the sport expand, especially here.
That love has more than reciprocated. Agassi was adored by Australian fans. His bold style and charm made him a star attraction, figuring in some of Rod Laver Arena's biggest matches.
I connect so much with the spirit here, and it was always the most relaxed Grand Slam for me. I always remember it as my first bald slam, right? It's like when I shaved my head. It's always about the people, right? It's about connections, and I think I had a stronger connection here than I really did anywhere.
These days, Agassi lives a very private life in Las Vegas with wife Steffi, but the game he dominated for so many years still holds a very special place in his heart. In fact, he hit the court just a few days ago, posting this video to Instagram.
Oh my gosh, I mean, like riding a bike. I mean, it felt good, but it's easy to hit a ball when it's in your pocket, so it's about how often that ball's actually in your pocket these days.
And while American tennis is enjoying somewhat of a renaissance, Agassi thinks a certain local is more than capable of ruling centre court this year, heaping praise on Alex de Minaur ahead of his shot at glory.
If I was around him, I would just stay out of his way. Yes, yes, sir, what do you need me to do? I mean, keep it going, don't... You know, I mean, it's been remarkable watching him play. It's great watching his competitiveness and him representing the quintessential Aussie spirit.
As for Agassi, he's more than happy to play spectator these days in a city he treats as a second home.
This has a special, special place in my heart, mind, memories, life, everything.
Clint Stanaway, 9 News.
What a legend there. Now looking ahead to more sport, here's Joshua Dawe.
Thanks, Dougal. Good evening. Melbourne star Clayton Oliver has made his return to the club. Xander Maguire was there.
That's right, Josh. Clayton Oliver trained at Amy Park just 2 days after he was granted extended leave to deal with personal issues. The four-time best and fairest was in good spirits this morning and said he was aiming to regain some fitness before hopefully rejoining the main group in the coming weeks when he's physically and mentally ready. I'll have more for you later on in sport.
Thank you, Xander. Also tonight, from exile to the big time, we catch up with the Melbourne qualifier ready for Open redemption. Australia's cricketers hit the ground for a fresh test, but our newest opener isn't exactly flying. The Socceroos keep their guard up ahead of the Asian Cup, and Gay's magical victory takes the Gold Coast by storm. Plus the catch that has to be seen to be believed, Dougal, that is all coming up very soon.
Looking forward to that one, Josh. We'll see you soon. When Melbourne's 9 News returns, police nab a group of machete-wielding thieves after a terrifying armed robbery in the city. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak visits Ukraine to deliver billions in aid. And in the swim, as young and old tackle Lorne's famed Pier to Pub.
For years, they've brought great stories home to Melbourne.
Stories that come out of our city are really important.
Live from the banks of the Maribyrnong River.
Marysville resembles a war zone.
And this is what it's all about, the Melbourne Cup.
Record-breaking 5,000 babies here at Sunshine Hospital.
Get cameras from all around the world.
Sunday, Alicia and Tom begin a new era.
It's about my city, about my suburb.
That is your news?
The news that matters to you.
Melbourne is your city. 9 is your news.
Welcome to the big time.
The wait is over.
Listen to the roar.
The Aussie Open starts tomorrow. The world's biggest superstars, Sinner, Rublev, Sakari and Fritz, plus 2 reigning champions, live in prime time. Djokovic and Sabalenka.
Incredible tennis.
The unmissable summer of awesome starts tomorrow on 9 and 9 Now.
At the Nick Scali January sale, everything is 20 to 50% off. The biggest Nick Scali sale of the year. 20 to 50% off everything. On now at Nick Scali.
At Woolworths, we can help you spend less today with great weekly specials across the store, like half price on Peter's drumsticks. That's today's fresh food people.
This new year at E&S, elevate your home with massive savings at our New Year stock clearance sale. Save up to $700 on selected Neff cooking appliances, up to $500 on selected Miele appliances, and save up to an incredible $1,200 on selected ASCO cooking appliances. So hurry in, stock is limited. Our consultants are kitchen experts and we won't be beaten on price. So visit one of our 9 showrooms today or shop online and get the E&S feeling.
Discover a world of lotus flowers and outdoor fun at the spectacular Blue Lotus Water Garden. Escape to a wonderland. See the giants of the Amazon. It's a great day out. Blue Lotus Yarra Valley. Paradise on your doorstep.
The spirited traveller moves to their own rhythm. They live in the moment, unbound by schedules or itineraries, drifting where curiosity takes them and unlocking a sense of calm the deeper they roam. Unwind as you wander with Spirit of Tasmania and set sail from $69. Be a spirited traveller.
The Cherry SUV sale event is on now. Great offers across the entire 2023 SUV new vehicle range. With the latest in design and technology, there's never been a better time to buy. Offer ends soon. Book a test drive today at cherrymotor.com.au. Here
you go, beautiful.
Excuse me.
Get another look with your New Year benefits. Get 2 designer pairs, no gap, with selected health funds. Should have gone to Specsavers.
Harvey Norman clearance on now. Huge value in the Elise 3-seater and 2-seater leather sofa package, only $19.99. Amazing deal on the Java 7-piece dining suite, only $14.99. More clearance deals at Harvey Norman now.
Somerville residents were told to stay indoors while thick black smoke billowed from a shed fire this afternoon. CFA crews arrived to find the blaze spreading to a house on Deanswood Drive. Paramedics checked the home's occupants for smoke inhalation but didn't need to take them to hospital. 4 people have been arrested following an armed robbery in central Melbourne. It's believed the group approached a 25-year-old man, threatened him with a machete and demanded his wallet, cash and phone. The 4 offenders were later taken into custody on Burke Street. Israel has launched its defence against claims it's guilty of genocide, arguing it's trying to prevent one. Hundreds of protesters from both sides gathered outside the Hague's International Court of Justice, kept apart by police. Brett McLeod reports.
Israel's defence was led by long-time advisor to government, Australian-born lawyer Tal Becker.
To weaponise the term genocide against Israel in the present context does more than tell the court a grossly distorted story. It subverts the object and purpose of the convention itself.
Israel said South Africa's case against it was based on cherry-picked claims, that Israel's allowance of humanitarian aid and warnings to civilians about imminent attacks in Gaza belied the genocide allegations. And he said it's Hamas which is putting civilians in danger by hiding military equipment in schools, hospitals and morgues.
Extensive and abhorrent method of warfare.
His words broadcast to opposing groups of protesters outside the International Court of Justice. Empty chairs representing more than 130 Israelis still in captivity. Israel says rather than committing genocide, it's trying to prevent one from being carried out by Hamas.
What Israel seeks by operating in Gaza is not to destroy a people, but to protect a people, its people, who are under attack on multiple fronts.
In the West Bank town of Bethlehem, the South African flag was raised, as that country's Justice Minister in The Hague said their claim is not against the Israeli people, but its government.
Which is targeting the civilian population in Gaza of the Palestinian people. Same goes with Hamas. They must respect international law.
Whatever ruling the court makes won't be legally enforceable, but may have a major impact on how Israel is seen in the international court of public opinion. In London, Brett McLeod, 9 News.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has announced a $4 billion package for Ukraine while visiting the country, the largest pledge since the war began. The aid will pay for long-range missiles, air defence and ammunition. It comes as the US and Europe struggle to secure funding. Well, young and old, beginners, veterans and just about everyone in between gathered at Lawn today for the famed Pier to Pub. Thousands of competitors braved the conditions for the biggest day on the seaside town's calendar. Reid Butler was there.
She's determination personified. Dorothy Dickey, 92 years old.
It was rough. It was lovely out there, then suddenly the waves came from nowhere.
Exhausted but still smiling after conquering Lorne's pier-to-pub ocean swim with this advice for her fellow swimmers.
Don't push too hard, just relax. And then if you got anything at the end, give it all you got.
And that's exactly what every one of the 5,000 competitors did.
How was it?
Amazing!
I'm too old for this.
There were mums and daughters.
Couldn't have done it without her.
And dads with the most enthusiastic cheer squads we've ever seen.
Did you take her the whole way? Yeah, whole way.
The 1.2 kilometre swim begins near Lorne's famous pier.
Be a bit mental at the start, yeah. Kicks in hands everywhere.
Swimmers can also easily go off course. That's why it always helps to pair up. Maddie is legally blind. She completed the race with the help of Elizabeth.
We are attached at the ankle using a kind of like a bungee boogie board cable.
Proving nothing will hold her back. The pier-to-pub is in its 44th year. Beth has competed in 30 of them.
It's such a good event. It's fantastic.
Today was 12-year-old Sam's first.
The determination on your face, that was inspiring. How was it?
Pretty hard, pretty cold.
And for Greg Henkel, this was the perfect way to celebrate a major milestone, his 60th birthday.
Who says 60's getting old? It's an effing ripper.
For those not into ocean swimming but okay with heights, this has got to be the best seat in the house. A cherry picker close to 20 metres in the air. Perfect to see all the action unfold down on the beach. I think I'd prefer to be in the water.
But if Dorothy has taught us anything, it's that even the toughest challenges can be overcome. So what's next for this nonagenarian?
Got to have something to eat, something to drink, and then get home and go to bed.
Well deserved. Reid Butler, 9 News.
Fantastic work by everyone there. Well, it's time now for another check on the weather with Madeline Spark, and it's been a much cooler day for a swim, Maddie.
That's right, it really has been, Dougal. Under southerly winds and cloudy skies, daytime temperatures have been considerably lower than yesterday. After a mild low of 19.1, the city didn't get much warmer, only peaking at 21.7. A band of showers moved over the state's south today, delivering totals of less than 2 millimetres, while there's been some thunderstorm activity in the northeast. And the Bureau has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for heavy rainfall for these locations here in Orange. Southerly winds are also expected to strengthen tonight around central districts, so a warning for damaging winds is in place, with gusts of 90 kilometres an hour possible. They are expected to ease tomorrow morning, while some locations can expect another cooler than average January day, and I'll have the details for you later on in the bulletin, Dougal.
All right, thanks, Maddie. We'll see you soon. Well, coming up for you, a light plane makes an emergency landing on a remote stretch of sand in a national park. From real estate agent to Queen, the etiquette coach who groomed Princess Mary for the throne. And an Archibald veteran takes to the high seas to paint a masterpiece for charity.
Remember that time we first laid eyes on each other? I just knew that you were going to be my husband.
I suppose I should tell you a little bit about me.
I'm dinner and a show and dessert.
I'm nervous.
I promise to laugh with you, cry with you.
I will respect you and support you, but probably not obey you.
I'm willing to commit myself to this relationship.
In the hope of finding the person who I spend the rest of my life with.
Here's to hopefully finding our happily ever after.
Australia, say I do to new Married at First Sight. Starts Monday, Jan 29 on 9 and 9 Now.
Do you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. It traps and removes waste from your gut and helps lower cholesterol. Join the Metamucil 2-week challenge now.
Did you ever find a place? The King Living Summer Sale ends soon. Save up to 50% on Australian-designed indoor and outdoor furniture. This summer, come home to King. Sale ends soon.
Hey, it's cool.
You're just saying that.
Go get that smoked herring paste. We love you.
We know you see other supermarkets, but you'll save more if you shop at Aldi first. Aldi, good, different.
What could your next 16-day holiday look like with Tripadeal? Experience this 2-for-1 Japan and South Korea cherry blossom cruise from $9,299, including flights. Grab your travel buddy and cruise into springtime in vibrant Tokyo and Seoul. See breathtaking Mount Fuji, enchanting Kyoto and more. Plus, earn and use Qantas points on every booking. For bucket list experiences and unbelievable prices, head to tripadeal.com.au.
The old guard think they can keep out the new people with impunity. Don't worry, I have a plan.
The war is heating up.
I'm not surprised.
The Gilded Age, streaming Sunday, only on Paramount Plus.
Say hello to the new McCrispy Bacon Deluxe. And say g'day to the return of the Aussie Angus Deluxe with beetroot. Macca's summer menu. Looks like summer just got yummer.
The Nick Scali January sale is on now with 20 to 50% off everything. 20 to 50% off everything during the January sale. On now at Nick Scali.
A pilot and his passengers have had a lucky escape at a picturesque beach in Sydney, making an emergency landing in the Royal National Park. The light plane came down shortly before midday. All 3 people on board were able to safely walk away. Rescue crews had to reach the site by air and water. The only road in was closed by a landslip in 2022. Well, she's the former real estate agent who met a prince and fell in love. And now Princess Mary is set to become the Queen of Denmark. Lizzie Pearl spoke to the woman who helped the young Tasmanian prepare for a life of royalty.
Grace, poise and elegance. Princess Mary, the picture-perfect royal. But Aussie Mary was once one of us. In the weeks after she met Frederick, she sought the guidance of deportment coach Teresa Page, not letting on she was dating a prince.
Mary was very, very subtle and quiet about that. It was really early days, and Frederick was known as a playboy prince.
For 4 hours every Sunday for 8 weeks, Mary would learn the art of shaking hands, how to engage with people, even how to walk into a room.
It all comes with practice, like anything.
Lessons Teresa still teaches.
Keep your head up, smile.
Most importantly, how to nail a photo from any angle.
Most people are walking around life like this. When you learn to align your body photographically, you do this.
A transformation Teresa saw before her own eyes.
She commented to me that she had never had a good photo taken, and now she's one of the most photographed women in the world, and she never has a bad picture taken.
2 decades ago, despite all her preparations, Mary couldn't hide a gasp before a sea of people waving Australian and Danish flags. She stepped out with Prince Frederick to announce their engagement. This weekend, she'll be back on the same balcony as a princess becomes a queen. Lizzie Pearl, 9 News.
A life-threatening Arctic blast is rolling across the United States, unleashing icy winds and heavy snow. Thousands are already without power and almost 20,000 flights have been impacted. Authorities warn temperatures in some states could dip to as low as -45 degrees Celsius. One of Australia's most successful painters has taken to the high seas for a new project that will help young people doing it tough. Six-time Archibald finalist David Bromley has embarked on the challenge on board Cunard's luxury cruise liner Queen Elizabeth. Joe Hall spoke to him as he set off.
Armed with his tools of trade, David Bromley is doing what he does best, bringing canvases to life.
After this amount of time being an artist, a lot of things we do now are adrenaline based.
His makeshift studio is on board cruising royalty, the Queen Elizabeth, where he will create a one-of-a-kind masterpiece.
You know, on such a big ship, you need a very big piece as far as I'm concerned.
Here, we're on the Lido deck, but the painter will move his canvases around the liner for inspiration.
I'll be painting them in different places throughout, and then they'll be bolted together.
David came to Australia as a 10-pound pom when he was 3, but hasn't been on a ship since and is confronting his fears on this venture.
When I was asked to this one, I thought, well, there's only one thing I don't like more than flying, and that's being out in the deep ocean.
For his almost maiden voyage, he chose well. This Cunard Queen is renowned for her art galleries and displays.
It is not a secret that Cunard vessels, since probably the early 1900s, they always had art on board, since voyages became a luxury and not so much a necessity.
The Queen Elizabeth's captain, Aureliano Mazzella, is mindful his passenger is also royalty of the Aussie painting kind.
It's an amazing mix that I think only a great artist can put together.
10 large canvases will reflect David Bromley's signature style and be assembled into one giant piece during the 72-hour journey from Melbourne to Sydney.
As we sail under Sydney Harbour Bridge, it'll be all put together. So it's a bit of a sort of mechanical sort of engineering feat as well, and I love that idea.
The popularity of cruising shows no sign of abating, with a record 1.1 million Australians taking a trip at sea this summer. The industry worth a whopping $5.63 billion to the national economy.
We had more than 2/3 of first-time cruiser with us, I think the last 2 trips, and I don't think I ever heard better comments in my 20 years at sea.
On arrival in Sydney, the artwork will be displayed before being auctioned, the proceeds going to the charity Life Changer that helps young people combat mental health issues, which is close to the artist's heart.
It's like the gift that keeps giving.
As for David's sea legs,
it scares the hell out of me, but I love an adventure.
Joe Hall, 9 News.
Still ahead in the news, no ice thanks. A deadly red-bellied black snake turns up in a fridge water dispenser. NASA unveils a new supersonic plane that's much quieter than the old Concorde. Plus, we take you on a tour of the workshop where the Australian Open trophies are crafted.
It's a game of strategy, nerve, and unpredictability.
Todd Woodbridge pushes Australia's most addictive game show over the edge.
One counter for a shot at $40,000.
The more you risk,
2 counters, $20,000. I'll also throw in a holiday.
the more you win.
If you don't get that jackpot, you'll leave here with nothing.
Tipping Point Australia starts Monday, Jan 29 at 5 on 9.
What's your pitch?
Forget the pitch. You've got an itch.
That itch could be dandruff. Silence it. Head & Shoulders removes up to 100% dandruff and itch. Head & Shoulders.
Absolutely everything is on sale right now at Freedom. Get up to 30% off all sofas and furniture, up to 55% off all mattresses, and up to 40% off all homewares. Hurry, sale on now. Only at Freedom.
From director George Clooney.
Come on, lay it down, Coach.
A team of underdogs.
Boys, that boat, sorry, guy.
Will make history.
The Americans have the 1936 Olympics. Show them what I already know.
The boys in the boat.
Explore the world with Viking. No kids and no casinos.
Viking's Explorer sale now on. For a limited time, receive up to $3,000 flight credit per couple on ocean voyages. Call 138747 or visit your Viking agent.
There are two ways to make a mattress. The cheap way?
One piece, single-sided, with attached pillow top made out of foam.
Yes, Mr. Harvey, they should be 50% off. The best way.
Two-piece, double-sided, removable pillow top with thousands of microcoils and a 5-year comfort promise.
Sorry, Mr. Harvey. We make them, you don't.
The Bellissimo mattress, made like no other mattress. Making mattresses. Nobody makes a better mattress. Nobody.
If you're looking for an eye-catching Kinsman kitchen, or a show-stopping Kinsman wardrobe, designed by an expert designer and for surprisingly great value, the decision is always Kinsman.
Each week, IGA checks and matches the regular prices of the big two on hundreds of essentials. Here's proof.
Like Farmers Union Greek yogurt 1 kilo price matched and Kellogg's Just Right 460 gram price matched.
We checked, we matched, you won't pay more.
A new school year means new school gear. The Williams famous back-to-school shoe sale is on now. Get 20% off school shoes by big brands Colorado and Clarks, all backed by our famous price match and perfect fit guarantees. Walk this way into Williams today.
The Plush January sale is on now, with up to 50% off everything. Save up to 50% off everything. She's got the look. At the Plush January sale.
An Adelaide woman has found a red-bellied black snake chilling out in the ice dispenser of her family's fridge, prompting an urgent call to the local snake catcher.
Good electricians never get electrocuted, and I try not to get bitten.
Simon says he's been busy fielding hourly calls from residents terrified about the unwelcome visitors. Well, NASA has unveiled a new plane it says could be a game changer for air travel. The X-59, dubbed the first quiet supersonic jet in the world, could help overturn a decades-old ban. Jonathan Kersley explains.
It's a plane of the future that could change the way people fly. This is the X-59. Unveiled in the Californian desert, NASA and Lockheed Martin's experimental aircraft is designed to travel 1,500 kilometres an hour and 1.5 times the speed of sound.
When it goes 900 miles an hour across the sky, it will barely make a ripple.
NASA's aim is to overturn a ban on commercial flights over land that travel faster than the speed of sound. It's been in place since the 1970s and the days of the Concorde.
This breakthrough really redefines the feasibility of commercial supersonic travel.
The pilot's window doesn't look to the front. Instead, there'll be a camera. The person flying the plane uses a screen to see what's ahead. But it's claimed the X-59 could eventually cut travel time between New York and Los Angeles in half.
You'll be able to take off in New York City, fly 925 miles per hour, and land 30 minutes before you take off on the New York-LA route.
NASA says the plane will be flown over cities to determine the impact on people. But first, it needs test flight takeoff. And for NASA, this time, the sky's the limit. In the United States, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
Well, if you ever needed another reason to indulge your sweet tooth, High Point's Tom's Confectionery Warehouse has broken a brand new Guinness World Record. The Lolly Heaven has been recognised for having the largest display of sweets. With 946 different types of lollies, there's something to tempt the young and the young at heart. Well, all eyes are firmly on Melbourne for the Australian Open, but a special group of craftsmen interstate is responsible for the trophies everyone is competing for. They're keeping alive a time-honoured art as they craft the tournament's ultimate prize. Vicky Jardim has the story.
Through a security door, a workshop in Marrickville where months of meticulous craftsmanship and a year of planning has delivered this, the 2024 Australian Open trophies.
Here we have the Norman Brooks Challenge Cup, which is, probably by far the most iconic of the Australian Open trophies.
Won last year by Novak Djokovic, who holds the most Australian Open titles.
It's 10 out of 10. Perfection for Novak Djokovic.
The winner of the women's singles will receive the Daphne Ackhurst Memorial Cup, more than 150 hours of dedicated work. Serena Williams holds a record 7 women's singles trophies. Ash Beaty, the first woman to receive it in silver.
Being able to do it here at home is really special, and I think it's a bit of a different feeling to the other ones, without a doubt.
Australian silver sourced from parent company Pallion. It makes its way to the Sydney refinery, the liquid silver produced into granules, finished in time to hand over to the Grand Slam champions, each masterpiece taking centre stage. The images beam to the world.
A good way to really appreciate those skill sets is when you actually look inside an object. And if we look inside the Norman Brooks there, you can see all of the detailed work required in actually producing that.
These trophies will be hand-delivered to officials in Melbourne ahead of the Australian Open.
That made-by-hand aesthetic is just something that draws people in, and I think that will always be the case.
Vicky Jardim, 9 News.
Now, returning with sport, here's Joshua Dawe.
Hello again, Dougal. Thanks for that. Well, only 2 days after taking another personal break, Clayton Oliver is back at work. After the break, the Melbourne star exclusively reveals the reason for his early return. Also ahead, Novak Djokovic lays down the law to his biggest threat, and the screamer that proves 2 hands are better than 1.
Welcome to the big time.
The wait is over.
Listen to the roar.
The Aussie Open starts tomorrow on 9 and 9 now.
At the Plush January sale, save 50% off the Fairfax leather sofa, only $17.95. Half price, $17.95. At the Plush January sale.
From wherever you sit, 40 million is big. The Keno Go jackpot is now a whopping $40 million. Only on Keno Go. Download the app now.
Harris Scarf Stocktake sale is on now. 40 to 60% off all homewares in Manchester, 10 to 40% off all electrical appliances, and a massive 30 to 50% off all clothing, underwear and footwear. Hurry, sale ends Friday, 2nd of February. Exclusions apply. Harris Scarf, great brands, great prices.
At Subaru, we know adventure is all around, and it's yours to discover with confidence with up to $600 worth of free, genuine Subaru accessories when you purchase selected new and demo Subaru models, but only till the end of February. And because some adventures are found when you take the long way, score a free Accor Hotels voucher worth up to $1,400 to use on your next journey. That's $2,000 worth of total value, free. Offer ends February 29. Contact your local Subaru retailer today.
Find the trusted grouting specialist at RichTech. Professional shower regrouting with a 25-year warranty. All completed to the highest standard. That's my guarantee. I'm Phil Richardson, owner of RichTech. And you know who to get.
Let's get RichTech!
This summer, witness the electrifying dance spectacle that is Malevo. A contemporary fusion of Malambo, flamenco and percussion at Arts Centre Melbourne from January 23.
Amart Stocktake sale is here. Save up to 55% off mattresses. Plus get free local delivery and removal of your old mattress when spending $9.99 or more on a new one. Hurry, this in-store only offer won't last long at Amart.
He's beaten the world number 1. David defeats a Titan. Australia's top hope. Oh, what a shot. He tries to get to every ball. In Melbourne.
Footy first up, and Demon star Clayton Oliver says he's feeling good after returning to the club to try and rebuild his fitness. Speaking exclusively with Xander Maguire, Oliver also revealed his hopes to reunite with Melbourne teammates.
Stripped down after his first session of the year, an embattled Clayton Oliver back at D's headquarters, training alone and taking his first steps towards an AFL return.
How are you feeling? Good to see you back at the club?
Yeah, it's good. Good. I'm actually not allowed to say anything. Oh, yeah, but I'm going good.
The midfielder did not appear at Melbourne's first training of the year after being granted extended leave to deal with personal issues which have plagued his off-season. But now Oliver is optimistic that he'll be in the right state to join the entire list as they approach the opening round of the year.
Planning to return to training sometime soon?
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully, be good. Just trying to get fit again. Yeah, usual things. But yeah, boys going well. Everyone's fit. It was good to see them flying. So yeah, hopefully join in whenever I'm ready.
Melbourne did not originally specify a return date for Oliver, but his appearance here at Amy Park has him ahead of where many at the club thought he might be in fighting his personal challenges. Across the road, Dan McStay was back kicking for the first time since rupturing his ACL in November as Isaac Quainer took out the yo-yo endurance running test for the second year in a row. Scott Pendlebury and Jeremy Howe sitting this year out as the two oldest players at the club, along with Josh Dacos, while Braden Maynard and Brodie Myercheck completed isolated running drills. Xander Maguire, 9 News.
To the tennis, and he's been near impossible to beat at Melbourne Park, but Novak Djokovic has a target on his back in 2024, and that comes from Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz, who's revealed his added motivation to take down the 10-time Australian Open champion. More from Braden Ingram.
He's made history on this court time and time again. It's as much Novak's arena as it is Rod Laver's, the Serbian's 10 Melbourne Park titles providing an unwavering belief in himself.
Who do you consider your biggest threat in this tournament?
Myself. Always first, and then, of course, all the other best players in the world.
But there's one in particular who's gunning for him hard, a 20-year-old who only 6 months ago snatched the Wimbledon title out of his hands, and now Carlos Alcaraz wants more.
It's an extra motivation for me. I'm an ambitious guy. I always want to play against the best players in the world to see what is my level.
As the number 1 and 2 seeds, the pair could only meet in the final. Djokovic confident his wrist concern won't hamper his chances after winning his past 2 titles down under with separate abdominal and hamstring injuries.
I've been training well, practice sessions, pain-free so far, so it's good. 2021 and last year I had worse injuries that I had to deal with.
36-year-old also providing an insight into his keys to success in Melbourne, including the Botanic Gardens.
I'm not superstitious, but, you know, I do obviously like to visit certain places that have brought me luck. I like to spend time and just be by myself in nature, you know, just grounding and hugging trees.
The Joker begins his title defence against a qualifier tomorrow night. Braden Ingram, 9 News.
Meanwhile, Melbourne's Omar Jasika wants to repay the faith after winning through to the main draw. The 26-year-old enjoyed a dream run in qualifying and says he's learned from his mistakes as he returns to the big time following a drug ban. He spoke to Clint Stanaway.
After 7 years in the tennis wilderness, Omar Jasika is back where he belongs. And the emotion is real.
There's actually no words that can describe the way I'm feeling right now. I feel like I'm on cloud 9. Just so happy to be back here playing in front of my friends and family. You know, it's a rough few years for me lately.
Jasika was once hailed Australia's next big thing. A junior US Open winner, he got his first chance at Melbourne Park back in 2016, reaching the second round. But then a positive cocaine test and a 2-year ban. His dream quickly unravelling.
I always knew I was going to come back. I knew I wasn't ready to quit yet. I've been doing all the small things right. We've all made mistakes in the past before, so yeah, I think I'm growing as a person.
But after years of hard work came redemption with victory in qualifying.
I'm playing some good tennis, you know, and I've set myself some goals this year that I want to achieve and taking match by match, you know, and played 3 incredible matches so far. So, yeah, I'm actually really stoked for this year.
Right now, Monday can't come quick enough. He tackles world number 9, Hubert Hurkacz, likely to be on a show court, and he's hoping for plenty of support from his hometown crowd.
The louder the better. So, yeah, the rowdier the better. I'm playing a pretty good player on Monday, so I'm excited. I'm just going to give him my best and see what happens.
Clint Stanaway, 9 News.
Marnus Labuschagne and Usman Khawaja have touched down in Adelaide ahead of Australia's next Test series against the West Indies starting on Wednesday. And while Steve Smith fell for a golden duck as a Big Bash opener last night, his Test predecessor believes the promotion will make him feel more at ease.
I think it's a challenge for him as well. He doesn't like waiting, so for Steve, he'll fit into any position, doesn't matter what. He's the best batter, and at the end of the day, when you're the best batter, you'll always adapt.
And there's been a very early contender for Catch of the Year from New Zealand's Super Smash League.
Has it got enough? Oh, what a catch! Yes, they pulled it off! That is unbelievable!
The incredible team effort from Wellington. Unfortunately, not quite enough to get them the win. The Socceroos intend to come out all guns blazing when they tackle Minnows India in tonight's Asian Cup opener in Qatar. Mitch Duke declaring the Aussie attack will strike fear into opponents throughout the tournament.
There's 5-6 players throwing themselves about, putting themselves in goal-scoring positions and scoring goals. I think that'll essentially scare some opposition and make them a bit more nervous.
Captain Matt Ryan is available for selection, but will be wearing a protective face mask. And Gabe Waterhouse has notched a record 5th Magic Millions win after Stormboy flew home to take out the $3 million classic for the best 2-year-olds in the country. The result launching the unbeaten Colt into favouritism for the Golden Slipper.
But it's all Stormboy, and Stormboy is too good for them in the 2-year-old.
Describe this thrill for me.
The thrill is unbelievable.
The 3-year-old Guineas was then delayed by more than an hour when hot chance Sydney bowler became stuck under the barrier. Fortunately, it did escape injury, and when the race was eventually run, a bounding was the winner for Queensland trainer Robert Heathcote at $7 odds. And that is all in Saturday Sport, Dougal.
Great stuff, Josh. Thank you. Madeline Spark returns now, and how's the second half of the weekend shaping up, Maddie?
It's looking better than today, Dougal. It'll be a bit warmer and we should see some sunny breaks. Then it heats up again early next week. I'll have all the details and the 7-day forecast next.
New Married at First Sight starts Monday, Jan 29 on 9 and 9 Now. The Plush January sale is on now with up to 50% off everything. Save up to 50% off everything. She's got the look. At the Plush January sale.
At Spotlight's New Year Clear Out VIP, save 40% off all fabric by the metre. VIP save 30 to 50% off all Singer sewing machines. And VIP save 40% off all Equip cookware. So you can make it, sew it and cook it for less, or back by our bargain guarantee. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Mike said he'd seen it, but Mike hadn't seen it.
Dear Future Tech, if you're reading this, it means we got a new series on the most successful streaming platform ever.
Welcome. We see you as a true visionary.
This is a crime scene. My job is to keep everyone safe.
We're in the middle of nowhere. We'll take it.
Don't let magic moments pass you by. Snapfish your holidays. Snap it, show it, love it with a Snapfish photo book.
And I won't let this moment pass us by.
Snapfish.com.au.
Harris Scarf Stocktake sale is on now. 40 to 60% off all homewares in Manchester, 10 to 40% off all electrical appliances, and a massive 30 to 50% off all clothing, underwear and footwear. Hurry, sale ends Friday, 2nd of February. Exclusions apply. Harris Scarf, great brands, great prices.
Beekeepers is a special program outside the chain of command.
I protect the hive. When the system is out of balance, I correct it.
We have laws for these things.
Until they fail, then you have me.
The Cherry SUV sale event is on now. Great offers across the entire 2023 SUV new vehicle range. With the latest in design and technology, there's never been a better time to buy. Offer ends soon. Book a test drive today at cherrymotor.com.au.
Say hello to the new McCrispy Bacon Deluxe. And say g'day to the return of the Aussie Angus Deluxe with beetroot. Macca's summer menu. Looks like summer just got yummer.
At the Nick Scali January sale, everything is 20 to 50% off. The biggest Nick Scali sale of the year. 20 to 50% off everything. On now at Nick Scali.
Hello again. Melbourne started the weekend under grey skies and it's also been much cooler after a mild low of 19. The city only climbed 3 degrees, peaking at 22. Ferny Creek didn't even make it into the 20s, only reaching 18. Most other spots got to 20, 21 or 22. And light showers moved over Melbourne this afternoon, but generally nothing more than a millimetre has been recorded. Further out, there's been isolated showers and storms in the northeast and a few locations recording more than 10 millimetres. Light showers in the south left less than 2 millimetres in the gauges. Temperature-wise, only the southwest made it to the high teens, but it reached the 30s in the north. And while the southerly winds have generally been moderate, they are expected to become strong and gusty across parts of the state tonight. So a severe weather warning for damaging winds is in place around central districts, including Seymour, with wind gusts of 90 kilometres an hour possible. They will ease tomorrow morning though, but under southerly winds it'll be another mild day in the south. And then winds will shift to easterlies on Monday, so we can expect to see a rise in daytime temperatures. Taking a look around the country for tomorrow, and eastern capitals can expect showers. Up to 3 millimetres in Brisbane at a top of 32 degrees, 28 in Sydney with up to 15 millimetres, 23 in Canberra, 20 in Hobart and a partly cloudy top of 31 in Adelaide. Back home, minimums will range from 10 degrees in Ballarat up to 20 at Wodonga. Then most of the state can expect a partly cloudy Sunday. There'll be maximums in the 30s again in the north, 21, 22 or 23 through the south, and there could be isolated showers in the east as well as thunderstorms in the northeast. It'll be a cooler morning across Melbourne with minimums mostly of 12, 13 and 14 degrees. Then under partly cloudy skies, it should be a bit warmer than today. Most spots are heading for the mid-20s and Coldstream is set to be the warmest, a top of 27. And after a low of 14, Geelong's expected to reach 22 with some breaks of sunshine, a maximum of 24 in the city after a minimum of 15. And then warmer on Monday, 28 degrees and mostly sunny in the morning, 30 degrees and windy on Tuesday with 10 millimetres of showers and the chance of a storm, up to 20 on Wednesday and dropping down to 19 degrees, 23 on Thursday, 25 and cloudy on Friday, 30 on next Saturday. It'll be warmer across Melbourne tomorrow after a low of 15. The city's heading for 24 with some breaks of sunshine, so great conditions for the first day of the Oz Open.
That is great to hear, Maddie. Thank you. And that is 9 News for this Saturday. I hope you have a great evening. For now, good night. And